all present here. Thank you, organizer of IoT Academy, for giving me these opportunities to share my knowledge with you all. So the topic was given for today is personality development for teachers. First, let me start my chapter. First, let me ask one question from you. When you are a school student or college student, definitely whom you did not like some kind of teachers, some teachers from their qualities. What are the qualities that you did not like? Like they may be harsh, they may be not, they are biased, they may not taking care of you properly, or may they are partial, they insulted you in publicly or in front of all the students. So these kind of quality you may not like from in a teacher. So what is a teacher? Who is a teacher? It is commonly stated that teaching is noble profession. It is indeed a noble profession because of its immense potential to shape not only the lives of students but also the destiny of nation. The Kothari Commission for Higher Education began his historical report with the statement, "The destiny of India is shaped inside its classroom." The statement implies that teaching is nation-building activity. Teachers are both people builder and nation builder. Teaching is much more than a mere profession. It is a mission. It is a sacred duty. It is a challenge. A single teacher can transform thousands of lives in his career. The way a teacher has the power and opportunities that people in other professions do not have. So teaching profession is just, it is just not like a job. Education is a process of enlightenment and empowerment of the individual for the achievement of better and high quality of life. The Education Commission has emphatically opined that the quality and competence and character of teachers to be the most significant factor influencing the quality of education and its contribution to national development. And the Chanakya rightly said that teachers are the makers of nation. Actually, teachers are nation builder. A nation is built by its citizens. Our citizens are molded by teachers, and teachers are molded by teachers' education. So time to time we have to do some this kind of activities. So by Rabindranath Tagore rightly said that a teacher can never truly teach unless he is still learning himself or herself. A lamp can never light another lamp unless it continues to burn its own flame. The teacher who has come to the end of his subject, who has no living traffic with his knowledge but merely repeat his lesson to his students, can only load their minds, he cannot quicken them. So teachers are expected to be competent in their subject and pace setter of standard by developing meaningful human relationship. Teachers are never to be truly teach unless they are continuous learning. Now you are here in the screen. There are empowering the circle of influencing. The influence of teachers on the student and the country is enormous. If teachers realize this, they will be inspired to do a much better job than what they are doing now. In order to understand the concept of circle of concern, we must make a list of all the problems that we face in our country, like corruption, violence, illiteracy, unemployment, and poverty, lack of hygiene, high cost of living, and poor infrastructures, hatred, violence everywhere. So these are the problems. So now we put all the problems are inside a circle. Then we will have a circle of concern in front of us. This is, you can show this circle of concern in front of us, and we now will take a close look of all the problems that we placed in the circle. We will feel helpless and inadequate to do anything to solve these huge problems. Our crippling sense of inadequacy to deal with this problem will further impart the poisonous content of the circle of concern and make them even more dangerous for the country and its people. So there is always hope. There is light at the end of every tunnel. We all know that. So if we look carefully within this huge circle of concern, there is a small area on which each of us has some influence. Parents have influence on their children, official has influence on their employees, and their subordinate. Teachers, similarly, teachers have influence on their students. In fact, every person has a circle of influence. Every day, teacher get the privilege of meeting one or more of 40 to 50 students in the class. So this is the circle of influence for the teacher. The teacher can easily influence these students in many ways during his class. Like during the class, teacher give everything they have to. Students give everything they have to their teachers. Their eyes on the teachers, what she's teaching and what she's saying. They keep their minds open for the challenges given by the teachers, and the teachers can utilize these opportunities and influence the mind and heart to the student, influence the mind and heart to the student. So we can inspire, teachers can inspire the students to do
Excuse me, ma'am. Dear participants, our resource person will be joining us soon. Dear participants, our resource person is having some network issue. She'll be joining with us very soon. Dear participants, our resource person will be joining us very soon. We are very sorry for the inconvenience. Thank you.
शेयर तो करो PPT.
स्प्रे करो
वीडियो से किया था.
फिर अब अपना सीधे घुमाइए
मेरा सीधा सीधा रास्ता बता और
ये लीजिए पूछिए उनको किसी को ले नहीं है
पहले वो तो करो.
ऑन
तो यही है. Hello, ma'am. Now,
Yes, ma'am.
am I audible now?
Yes, ma'am. You're audible, ma'am.
Sorry for disturbance. So, can you tell me where we are? Can you see the PPT?
Yes, ma'am. It's visible, ma'am.
It is visible. So, I'll explain from the empowering the circle of influence. Is it okay, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So, actually, the circle of empowering the circle of influence by the teacher is it's a very great job. Actually, the influence of teachers on the student and the country is enormous. The teacher realize this, they will be inspired to do much better job what they are doing now. So here you can see the circle of influence. Before we check the circle of influence, we have the circle of concern. Circle of concern means all the problems that we face in our society, like corruption, violence, poverty, lack of hygiene, lack of education, and high cost of living, poor infrastructure. These are the problems that society is faced. So we'll put all the problems in circle of concern. So then we'll have the so now we'll have the circle of concern, and we place all the problems in circle of concern. If we feel uh, now we feel helpless and inadequate to do anything to solve these huge problems. Our crippling sense of adequacy to deal with these problems and will further empower the poisonous content of the circle of concern and make them even more dangerous for the country and for the its people. So there is always hope. There is always hope. There is light at the end of every tunnel. It is a look, if we look carefully, there's a huge circle of concern. There is a small area on which each of us has some influence. Parents have influence on their child, the children. Officials have influence on their subordinate. Teachers have influence on their students, and in fact, every person has circle of influence. So every day, teachers get to privilege to meeting one or more class of 50 to 40 to 50 students. In the this class is called the circle of influence. So teachers can influence their student through give them certain assignments, challenging tasks, and give some tasks to perform. So this is called the circle of influence. The teacher can utilize these opportunities and influence the minds and heart of the students. So the teacher can inspire their students by do hard work and achieve academic excellence. They can make the students imbibe human values like love, compassion, forgiveness, respect, tolerance, and peace and honesty, etc. A teacher can lead students to love their country and work for the betterment of the country. Thus, the teacher can do much more merely covering their syllabus. In short, the teachers can empower the circle of his or her influence. So, empowering the circle of influence is like blowing into a balloon. When we blow into a balloon, it bulges and enlarges because the wall of balloon are not able to withstand the pressure we release from our lungs. Similarly, when we empower the circle of influence, it enlarges. As it enlarges, which will be occupy. It enlarges. Which will be occupy more area that originally belonging to the circle of concern. As the area under the circle of influence increases, the area of circle of concern decreases. In other words, empowering student in the classroom, the teacher efficiently reduce the problem that the society and the nation face. One teacher can easily empower at least thousand of student during his or her career. In a college, I have 100 students in a class, 100 teachers in my college. So we can together empower 1 lakh students. In my city alone, we have, suppose we have 30 colleges. So we'll empower million of students in city. It will, if this happen all over the country, year after year, India will become a great country. Every time a teacher steps into his class, he must remind himself that he is now inside the circle of influence. His job is essentially twofold. First job is to teach his or her subject to the best of his ability, and the second job is to empower the student. So empowering the student by, if he is learned to think on his own, achieve academic excellence, live value-based life, develop concern and love for others and help to grow, contribute to the development of his country, plays a role in maintaining harmony and peace in society, and remain the model of others to emulate. So now I'm telling to your story. Are you listening? Are you listening? Hello? Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So I'm worried now because internet connection. So there is a story. There's a very interesting story. Please listen it carefully, just like a kid. Please don't be judgmental. There's a just story. The story of lamb and circus trainers. There was a circus trainer who trained a lamb in several skills. He taught the lamb to speak and understand some languages. He trained to do so many things, dancing, singing, and responding. One day he proudly told to his wife about all that he has taught this lamb to do. One by one, he listed all the skills that he had imparted to the lamb. He was expecting his wife to appreciate him, but she just would not believe any of the claim. She thought that her husband was badly drunk. She ordered him to stop drinking or stop coming home. He was badly disappointed because he had done what no one ever had dreamed about of doing. Training of lamb to do what human could do, but he decided to prove his wife and the whole world. One day he came to his wife and told her told her that his friend and his friends would be visiting day after tomorrow, so prepare a grand dinner for them. The wife agreed with a condition: no one would drink at the time of dinner. He said, okay. Next evening, he stealthily brought him the highly trained lamb and left with the other lamb at the backyard. His plan was to wait for the dinner to start and then bring the lamb in, and that then only he bring the lamb to everyone, in front of everyone. So next morning, the wife of the trainer got ready to prepare for the dinner. So she went to the backyard and chose a lamb. Choose a fat and healthy lamb. I'm sure you can now imagine what happened next. Yes, you're right. She chose a fat lamb to slaughter and prepare dinner. Now I ask a question. Who is responsible for the death of highly trained, highly skilled, and highly equipped lamb? You will realize that all the three are responsible for the death of lamb in some way or others. I would first find fault with the woman on two accounts. Firstly, she killed the lamb, and secondly, she should have trusted on her husband. Listened to him lovingly and affirmed him. Maybe should react by saying, "That's fantastic, honey. I'm so proud of you. When can I set that lamb?" So in many ways, affirming a student in an attitude and skill that teachers must learn and practice. Teachers should learn to trust students so that they become trustworthy. The second is the man who is responsible for the death of lamb. The man should have gone to his wife with the lamb and demonstrate to her what he has taught to the lamb. Similarly, teaching with demonstrating what is being taught is equally flawed. Second, he should have transparent to his wife. There is no need to stealthily leave the lamp on the backyard without the knowledge of his wife. Thirdly, he should have trained the lamb to use what he learned when need arose. He should have taught the skills of application. If they trained the lamb in such a way that if his wife went to the backyard, the lamb should say, "Good morning, ma'am. How may I help you?" Like this. So we have not trained that. And thus, lamb, in some way, teachers teach many things, but do not bother to teach how and when to apply what is taught. Teachers must prepare three things. First is content, second is the process, and third is the application part. And lamb is also responsible for his death because he was such a good student. He learned so many things, but the pities failed to learn the vital part of applying its knowledge and skill when it is really mattered. Teaching learning is one process. The proof of teaching is seen in learning, and learning is for using and not for storing. Not for storing. Learning added value to our person. So it is we have to do so many things as a teacher. So what must I do as a teacher? Teachers have great responsibility of their shoulders. Remember that as a teacher, you have a great responsibility. You are in a position of vital importance in the life of your students. You have great responsibility on your shoulders and important duty to perform. Second is, you must constantly remind yourself that you have great influence on the lives. You are in the circle of influence of your students, and that you must always do your best to empower them. You must be clear about the objective of your teaching. You must prepare sincerely of your classes. Remember to prepare quality content, effective uses, and useful application. You must relate to a student with love and respect. You must help your student uh, um, imbibe values through your teaching and by being a model of values. You must teach them social responsibility. Now, personality. The term personality is derived from the Latin word persona, which means mask. Mask you wear to perform certain kind of function, certain kind of duties. You wear a certain mask to perform some duties. If you're a teacher, you wear certain mask of love, skills, compassion. But when you are somewhere else, you just take it off your mask and put another mask to perform that duty. So mask means you it's your choice, by choice, and if you don't want, you take it off. But in the pandemic time or in corona time, there is no choice. It is compulsory to wear the mask. So personality means how a person affect other and how he understand and view himself, as well as the pattern of inner and outer traits. How a person affect other depends upon his physical appearance and behavior. So why personality is so much important? We have to ask this question. Do you mean the personality means looking good, no, or the looking physical look, or the way you are behave? Actually speaking, both. Physical look is also matter. It does not mean you good looking personality has good looking person has good personality. You have to do only one thing: make yourself presentable. Excess makeup and excess accessories is not required. You just well dressed. Make sure you are wearing a professional looking attire, professional looking outfit, whether it is traditional or western. So excess makeup is not going to help you out. So your smile, your behavior will reflect in your personality. The way you smile, the way you walk, the way you talk, the way you enter in your class with good cutting, with with great confidence, that reflect in your personality. So academic and psychological researchers say that personality of teachers has significant influence on student outcome. A weak personality a personality exuded weakness, and a strong personality exuded strength. How a teacher look, how a teacher behave, how they handle the class have great connection in a perfect positive correlation with students' outcome. A teacher is very motivated, very inspiring. So students feel confidence to move with such kind of teachers. A weak personality exuded weakness. Lack of communication, lack of confidence is the weakness. Maybe they are very good in class, but in front of others, they fumble. So if the way you behave, you just create trust and confidence among your students if you want to be a rocking teacher. So For the improvement of personality, you have to move from good to great. There is a watch shop experience. Actually, I went to a popular watch shop in my town to buy a watch. The young lady in the sales displayed some 15 watches. She pointed at the first watch and told me the cost. This is, ma'am, this is, its cost is with 1,000 rupees. She told me the price of second watch was 2,500. Now she showed me the remaining watches one by one and the gave me prices which were in increasing order. The 14th watch price was 50,000 and the 15th watch price was 17,000. Now I ask her, if all the watches, what do all the watches show? She told me without hesitation, ma'am, time. Then I asked her, if all of them showed time, then why the prices are different? She gave me a simple answer, ma'am, quality. The quality of watch decides the price. How true our quality decides our value. The real quality of watch depends on the machine that is inside the watch. It controls the reliability and durability of watch. Similarly, our values depend on our quality, which are hidden inside each of us. So everything that happens inside of us, like our thoughts, like our emotions, values, likes, dislikes, is called our root activities. Everything that happened outside is our root activities, like speech, action, results, behavior, achievement, quality, and quantity of work we do. These are our root activities. Root activities determine our fruit activities. Teachers who wish to increase their value must work on enhancing the quality of their root activities. It is always wise to plan the increase of quality every passing day. We must keep rising the quality bar in every component of our life so that quality keep going up. It means we have to be better. We have to be better. So we move from good to better, and then best, and then excellent and great. So this is the if you want to really a rocking teacher, you just move from good to great. Now they are what we do actually. Um, there is there's a table where there are two types of activities in our life. Of what we are doing, first is growth giving activities, and other is growth denying activity. 81 is growth giving activities which is not hurried. You have plenty of time to perform your work for your growth, for improve your values. For example, student have sufficient time. If he start preparation by very beginning of the year, and he has sufficient time to complete their syllabus uh, effectively. So growth giving activities are those activities which you start timely, don't delay. And if you start your time your activities, definitely the crown of success is on your head. Second is 82. 82 activities are those activities who are basically belonging to 81 activities, but it delayed. We postpone the activities. We postpone the activities, so it become 82. Because, like, for example, we have sufficient time for study studiously, but we delayed it. We postponed our thinking. So what? We rush to complete our syllabus and we create mess. And third is 83, that is growth denying activities, which is not hurry. We have sufficient time. We are watching serial, watching movies, and wasting our time mobiles, gossiping, and procrastination. These are the growth denying activities. If we consume our time in these kind of growth denying activities, definitely what we just put down our growth. And 82 is the poisonous one. We have growth denying activities and we have been hurried. Suppose I want to watch serials, so I hurry to go home from my work. So this kind of activities are poisonous. Now, communication. Communication is very important part of a teacher's personality. A good teacher makes the student understand the concept what he or she is teaching. In this process, the teacher first understands the subject, then he teaches the subject in a way that the student also understands. At this stage, the understanding of concept becomes common to both the teachers and student. In other words, the teacher has has effectively communicated the subject to his student. Basically, there are two types of communication. First is intrapersonal communication, and second one is interpersonal communication. So, intrapersonal communication, when you communicate with yourself through your thought process, through your emotions, through self-talk, this is called intrapersonal communication. It is a tool what we use for preparing for our class. As we start preparing of a class, we think about what should be the outcome, what I have to explain, how well I have to explain, what are the process, what are the contents that we plan with a specific process for effective teaching. In whole process, we engage with self-talk, we engage our thought process, and through critical thinking, we prepare for the class. So interpersonal relationship. Interpersonal communication is the communication that we have with others. So teaching is the best example for interpersonal communication. While teaching, we communicate all the students in our class. It is important to understand that though we teach to a class of students, we are in fact communicating to each of the individual student in the class. There is no common mechanism for every student. Some students will understand what exactly I am trying to communicate them. Some are not. So we have separate mechanism for all the students. So communication is the process of establishing commonalities and increasing commonalities. This is very essential part. Establishing commonalities and increasing commonality. A simplified statement of this definition is communication is the process of starting from the known and familiar and then moving to new and unfamiliar. What we'll do, we start the class with the simple facts and concepts that are already known to our students. When the student listen to these known facts, a feeling of confidence built within them. The confidence lead to desire, learn more, learn new things of the subject. Building the base is called establishing commonalities. And the other component is enlarging commonalities. Enlarging commonality has been established. The teacher has to teach new contents and make students understand them when the new concepts are understood by the students. And then these new also become common to teachers and students. So thus commonality get increased or enlarged. The extent of which commonality is in charge, it is measures of the efficiency of the teacher. Let us move to a little further and consider the second definition. Communication is sharing experience. The term experience refers to the teacher's knowledge and skills. During the process of communication, the teacher share these experience with his students so that they will also have the same experience. So there are three essential steps involved in communicating our experience with our student. First is, this is the communication process actually. Sender acquires rich and beneficial experience through the, senders means teachers. Teachers acquire it and experience through your knowledge, reading, listening, and by doing and reflecting. So, and the second is, senders convert this experience into code and transmit to code to the listeners or recipients. So all the this is the when the experience is shared, stored in my mind, and from that has no language. So so your task is share your experience with the student with using codes. These codes are your words of expression, your tone of voice. So this is good teachers use appropriate word to communicate their content, their tonal variation, facial expression, etc. So now we have a model. We have a file number 1 and file number 2 are two files in the mind of the communicator. We have called file 1 is content file and file 2 of word of expression file. Content file has a subject matter that the communicator need for his communication. File 2 contain words and expression which are used to give expression to the content of the communicator. Now, CPU is our brain. CPU is our brain, is controlled by two chips, fear chips and confidence chips. At any given time, one of these two chips is active. If fear chip is active, fear chip is on, it develops problem in accessing data from the two files. It struggled to get enough content from file number 1, or content is there, but problem is getting appropriate word and expression from file number 2. So everything will mess up if fear chip is on. When communicator is well prepared, the confidence chip would automatically get switched on. The other factor which helps to switch on the confidence chip are good health, high energy level, cheerful mind, peace in heart. When confidence chip is on, CPU become very active, fast, and effective. It began to access all the required content from file 1 and all the appropriate word and expression from file 2. And the resulted communication will be lucid and enjoyable. Now, motivation. Motivation is generally creating a desire to excel, and the performance by person depend on two factors. First is ability, and second is motivation. So here's P is equal to A is M. So A is ability, or can factor, and it represents what we can do and how well we can do. And M is motivation. M is motivation to do work. I have to do this work. So there is Hesberg theory of motivation. So Hesberg Hesberg called the father of motivational studies. So through Hesberg identify actually 24 factors, but of motivation, but they are just set up. But out of 24, 19 are not really motivators. They are just satisfied. So these remaining 5 motivators are sense of achievement, recognition, nature of work, responsibility, and mobility. So sense of achievement, when you do challenging job and accomplish it very well, will appreciate by others. So this sense of satisfaction inspires a person to do more such kind of work. And like example, student had hate maths. This is the challenge for a teacher to teach maths in such a way so that the students start loving maths. Then second is recognition. Recognition, when people are recognized for their achievements, they get motivated. If authority motivate the teachers, if managers motivate their employees, if teachers appreciate his student in front of others, so they again start move quality work. And but recognition but minded recognition may be immediate, educate, and appropriate. Now, nature of work. The nature of work should be not same. It will be not monotonous. We can it become monotonous. So job rotation, job enlargement are required for motivation for a student, for teachers, and for any employee. Responsibility to motivate some. We should give responsibility to them and trust them, encourage them for the capability. Mobility. Mobility refers to opportunities to move higher level to the hierarchy in same organization as a result of good performance. Now, concept of QQT, quality quiet time. So what is QQT? Actually, quiet time is the time in which we are alone in our office. That is called me time. You are alone with yourself, no one around us to disturb you. It is called time when we enjoy quietness of mind, even in the presence of others. We can add quality of this quiet time and make the quality time by dynamic process or by creative thinking. So during QQT, the mind does not remain idle, nor does it wander aimlessly. It is involved the productive thought process, which result in productive action. So QQT, you can start a day. In QQT, you can start a day with prayer, with some yoga, with meditation, with some thought process. You just sit alone, and your brain must be active. Your thought process must be on. So QQ time in the morning, early morning is the time. It's the best time for your quality enhancement. So you can prepare a schedule for whole day as per schedule. You start your work, and at the end you just evaluate the day work, how you spend, and make the next day better and more valuable. So knowledge, important components in the work of teacher is knowledge. Knowledge, they are his knowledge skills. These components of knowledge, skills, and attitude. We an understanding of relative importance of three components will help the teachers enhance his quality, is the overall quality. Teachers must have strong knowledge of their subject. However, the mere presence of knowledge does not make a person a great teacher who is liked by their student. Second is skill. A teacher is well respected by his skills. The skill of the teachers is explaining difficult concept in easy way, attractive PPTs, innovative teaching, and innovative methods of teaching. So skills is really matter. Then attitude. Cultivating the right attitudes is the most important preparation that a teacher should make in order to become an effective teacher. A teacher with the right attitude will do the best to develop the skills that he lacks and acquire the knowledge that he needed. On the contrary, the teacher with wrong attitude will not take pain to acquire sufficient knowledge, and he will not take the effort acquired to share the knowledge that he has with the student. He will not acquire the skill needed to be a good teacher, nor he will use the skills for the betterment of the student. It is most unfortunate that abundance of knowledge is in many teachers is often wasted because the teachers has the wrong attitude. So a great teacher is one who has the right mix of knowledge, skills, and attitude. So there are three targets of attitudes: for student, authority, and work. The student towards attitude towards student. Good teacher care of their student. Care means love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, etc. Then attitude of respect. Teachers can show regards to the student by way he treats them. Positive regards can be shown by the warmly welcome them and greeting to the student in class and outside class by using good words. So by using certain action like calling them by name, petting them and on the back, and affirming them. So it's a right attitude. So when the teacher show that he values a student for what he is and what he does, the student in turn begin to value himself as a worthy person, a person who start valuing himself, develop confidence, and begin to add more values to his life. He become an inspired learner and begin to grow. I had just learned an interesting story of daughter-in-law and mother-in-law. So story is the young lady who was badly and unkindly treated by her mother-in-law. The treatment of the mother-in-law was so cruel that the young lady decided to get rid of her. So she went to the herbal doctor and asked his help to give poison for her mother-in-law. Doctor promised to help her and give her a white medicinal powder. He said to her, "You must be careful. You must be careful and not give room to any suspicion. This white powder is a poison. This poison acts slowly but surely and takes 6 months to do its job." The young lady said, "Thank you, doctor. I will be careful, but tell me, what else should I do to ensure that no one ever suspect me?" The doctor said, "Treat your mother-in-law with a greater affection for the next 6 months. People who see you related lovingly to your mother-in-law should feel that you really love her very much and not suspect you when she dies. But the way mix the powder you gave with her food and every meal and personally serve the meal." Then the lady went home and followed the instruction given by doctor. She started treating her with greatest affection. 5 months passed. One day the lady went running to meet that doctor. Doctor said, "What happened? Have all the powder medicine finished? You want some more?" The lady replied, "No, doctor. It's not that. Do you have any antidote for this poison you gave me? I want it badly. I want it now. I don't want my mother-in-law die. I love her so much that I want her to live." And tears were there in her eyes. Doctor smiled and asked her, "What happened? 5 months back you told me that your mother-in-law treats you cruelly and you wanted to kill her. Now what made you change? What made you change in your mind?" "It is true, sir. It is true, doctor. She once treated me so badly that wanted to kill her. But when I started giving her the powder you gave me and started treating her lovingly, she also treated me lovingly. Now we love each other so much. I don't want her to die at all. So please give me antidote for the poison." So doctor patted on the lady her back and said that, "Relax, dear. This white powder I gave you is not a poison. It is a herbal tonic that would have strengthened your mother-in-law by now." So I wanted to I wanted you to realize that what you give is what you receive. If you give love, you get back love. You treat someone with love and respect, the person treated you in the same way. So good story, isn't it? Okay. Why would teachers strain hard to make all the student in class? Preparing charts, drawings, models, PPTs, innovative teaching methods she used. She cared them. She cared to their students. Now, attitude towards authority. Teachers must have the humility and strength of character to respect people in authority. There are every institution, there are director, principal, HODs are there. So teachers must learn to have the attitude of respect toward all the authorities. Maybe he or she is younger than you, less qualified and less equipped than the teachers himself. The teacher who has the maturity and grace to show respect and get respect reciprocate. If the future of country will become a menace to the society, you just see the figure 1 represent by people who work for the institution in different way. People pull the institution in different direction. Ultimately, the institution will not make any progress. Similarly, you just see in figure number 2 represent an idle institution in which there is there is an acceptance and acceptance and well performing leadership. People follow the direction decided by all of them. Thus, in this educational institution have leadership and teachers like this our nation will have glorious future. Now, attitude towards work. So, attitude towards work. Every teachers have given certain kind of working hours, number of classes to teach every day, every day, and other duties, paper settings, correcting answer sheets, taking care of extracurricular and co-curricular activities. So much burden on us. But so teachers have two options. One option is to do the work assigned to them, nothing more or less. The second option is to go the second miles by doing more than the minimum requirement. There are two kinds of teachers, hardly working or hard working. So decide who you are. The attitude of teachers toward work decided by his energy level in the classroom. Teacher with right attitude shows passion in his teaching. A teacher with wrong attitude will send signals that she hates what he's doing. He is found sitting and teaching most of the time. Teachers with right attitudes, teacher with the right attitudes toward his work, accomplish the work with creative methods and some um, uh, uh, good methods. But teachers with wrong attitude, filling student with information just like they are the empty vessels. So teachers with right attitude prepare students for life, and the teachers with right attitude prepare student for exam. So but they are not uh, uh, well, teachers with wrong attitude they are self-centered, but teachers with right attitude are student-centered. They want more. Teachers with wrong attitude want some more money, and they want less work. They work for the money, not the betterment of the student. So teachers with right attitudes are the blessing to the institution and the lesson. So I'll just end up my presentation with a very touchy. You really like this story. This is a story. I like it very much. So the story is of teacher of Mrs. Thompson and a boy Teddy. Teddy. His name is Teddy. Miss Thompson is a teacher of class 5th. Miss Thompson went to her class very first day and said, "Good morning, children. I love you all." In front row, a very little boy, Teddy, seated. Mrs. Thompson watched Teddy the year before and noticed that he did not play well with the other children. His clothes were messy and he needed a bath. He could become unpleasant. When Mrs. Thompson checking his answer sheet, he has done nothing and marked him fail. F. Then she checked his previous class records. In first standard, teachers wrote, "Teddy is a bright child with a ready laugh. He does his works neatly and has good manner." His second grade class teacher wrote, Teddy, an excellent student, but he has trouble because his mother has a terminal illness and life at home must be struggle. His third grade teacher wrote, his mother's death has been hard on him. He tries to do his best, but his father does not show much interest. Teddy's fourth grade teachers wrote, Teddy does not show much interest in his school. He does not have many friends at have, and he sometimes sleep in class. Mrs. Thompson realized the actual problem, and she was ashamed of her. She felt even worse when her student brought her Christmas present wrapped in beautiful ribbon and bright paper, but Teddy presents in a heavy brown paper and not properly read. When she opened her present, there is a bracelet with some of the missing stone and the used perfume bottle. Other students were laughing, but Mrs. Thompson smiled and wore that bracelet and sprayed some perfume. That day after school, Teddy said to Mrs. Thompson, Ma'am, you are smelled just like my mom used to. And she cried for at least an hour. From that day, her whole attitude changed, and she began to teach all children with real love and paid full attention to Teddy. The more she encouraged him, the faster he responded. But the end of the year, Teddy had become smartest child in the class. Teddy passed in every class after this with good marks. And every year he wrote a letter to Mrs. Thompson telling her that she was still the best teachers he ever had in his whole life. Now, Teddy became a doctor. Another letter of Teddy received by Mrs. Thompson, that was the invitation of his marriage. Mrs. Thompson reached Teddy Place to attend his marriage. She wore that bracelet and used same perfume. They hugged each other, and Dr. Teddy whispered to Mrs. Thompson here, Thank you, Mrs. Thompson, for believing in me. Thank you so much for making me feel important and showing me that I could make a difference. Mrs. Thompson, with tears in her eyes, whispered back, Teddy, you have it all wrong. You were the one who taught me that I could make a difference. I did not know how to teach until I met you. Then they hugged again. Mrs. Thompson sat on the chair that was reserved for his mother. So when I just I just want to end up my presentation saying that when teachers' heart and brain involved, it's really create a masterpiece. It's really create a masterpiece. So thank you very much. I end up my presentation, ma'am.